and let there be sound. Hello everybody, my name is Kirby Kwan Jr. from the 6, and you are currently listening to the Ghetto Fabulous Podcast. Joining me once again will be the man, the myth, the legend, the man who doesn't want to admit that he's Vietnamese, Kevin Long.
I'm not Vietnamese.
Exactly my point. So how you doing today, man?
I'm doing all right, I suppose.
Right. Before we even get into the topic, which we will be discussing, Spider-Man Far From Home, let's just quickly talk about our Ghetto Fabulous setup for reals. So Kevin is actually at my place. We're not in the same room, though. Kevin's next door, and we're using condenser microphones, which is why we need to be next door, because I don't want to pick up my audio through his microphone and vice versa. So literally, we're doing that shit where we're fucking talking to each other in the same house, but in different rooms. There's a wall between us. So Spider-Man Far From Home. Firstly, let me just, let me just tell y'all this now before I forget. This will have a whole bunch of spoilers. So yeah, let's quickly talk about the film in terms of our general thoughts. Did you enjoy the movie?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good movie.
Dope. I felt like there are some major flaws in terms of Peter Parker's characterization. However, I don't think that's a fault of this film necessarily, as much as it is just the way that he was introduced.
Yeah, because like his character was always like, they never started off with the standalone film for the MCU, right? They started off by introducing him in Civil War.
Yep, Civil War in Captain America: Civil War.
So like he never really got a chance to be his own character.
Nope.
At the very beginning. So his build up was kind of already like non-traditional.
I mean, his build up was hey guys, what's up? Or whatever.
Yeah, basically. It was
hey,
like,
dude, what's up?
It's everybody's favorite, Spider-Man. And they're just like...
More or less, yeah.
Holding that note for like a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, at that time, it was a big thing, right? Marvel getting back the rights to use Spider-Man.
Yeah. And then that spawned the meme of, give the rights back to Marvel. I
mean... They didn't have to, because eventually Disney just bought everything back.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. And then the other meme that it spawned was actually it's DC.
What?
Like because there were like people were saying shit like, oh, give the rights to Batman back to Marvel or whatever the fuck, and shit like that.
No, that I didn't hear much about, but I would assume that would be a joke.
The joke is that they're fucking stupid. That's the joke.
People are the big dum-dum.
Yep. Anyway, since we already started talking about Spider-Man, what were your thoughts on Spider-Man in this film?
Let's see here.
Tom Holland.
I kind of always enjoyed his performance as Spider-Man.
Okay.
It's like, because like I've talked to a couple of people about it. It's like, out of the three Spider-Men, which one do you prefer, right? It's like
Miles
Tobey
Morales.
and what was it, Andrew Garfield?
Andrew
was that
Garfield.
his name?
Yep, Andrew Garfield, Social Network.
And
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Tom Hollander.
Tom Holland, yeah. And they like Tom Holland's performance the most?
Well, like, I think people, like, sometimes people say, like, oh, he likes, like, a bit of, like, this performance.
Right.
But most people say they like Tom Holland the most.
Okay. I mean, I like Tom Holland as well, but the major issue is I don't feel like the major issue with this universe of Spider-Man has absolutely nothing to do with Tom Holland himself. It's more so the way that he's written, because if you really think about it, he's basically Miles Morales in the Ultimate comic books. Now, Kevin doesn't know shit about comics, right?
Yep.
You an educated swine. So
I mean, I know some stuff about Spider-Man more so than others.
Maybe.
Like more so than other characters.
Yeah, but basically my issue with this universe of Spider-Man is that Tom Holland is basically just a white Miles Morales that's named Peter Parker. In the sense that, in the Ultimate Universe before, he eventually got canceled, Miles Morales looked up to that version's Peter Parker, and he was a kid who had an Asian comic relief character that understands him and supports him as Spider-Man, and he wanted to, as in Miles Morales, he wanted to fulfill the shoes of a dead Peter Parker. Except in this case, you swap Gank in the comic books for Ned, and then you swap dead Peter Parker in Ultimate Universe for Tony Stark in this universe. And fundamentally, I'm not a fan of that, because rather than it being a Spider-Man story, I mean, it is still a Spider-Man story, but rather than it being a more self-contained Spider-Man story, I think they're doing too much, in the sense that it's like, just a reminder, guys, this is in the MCU. And I understand world building is a thing, but in this case, you've already done so much world building. I feel like it's unnecessary. And
I mean, the thing is, like, MCU Spider-Man is like
Miles Morales.
Like, he's kind of like a lot different from the Spider-Mans we've seen before, right? Like the whole super young Aunt May, literally no mention of Uncle Ben.
Yeah, I have a pretty big problem with that too. The fact that like he looks up to Tony more than Uncle Ben.
Because like Uncle Ben was always like Spider-Man's like motivation.
Yeah.
Right? It was always like one of his reasons for becoming a hero is because of the fact that he couldn't save Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
But then now that like that entire element isn't actually present in this version of Spider-Man,
to a degree,
it really does change the character a lot.
Yeah, because what Uncle Ben taught him was, with great power comes great responsibility. But in
and also that bullets, ow.
Yeah. But in this universe, it's like, hey, I'm Tony Stark. I'm gonna give you these glasses. The Edith Initiative or Edith program, whatever. And then that's the great power. He fucks up, and then he needs to learn great responsibility and live with consequences.
And then he just pieces out.
Yeah, and the issue with that is like, while I like my Spider-Man to be more independent, it's kind of like, why did he become Spider-Man in the first place, aside from, having a happy accident happen to him? It's never explained. Like, yes, we could piece together, and we as the general audience know the story of Peter Parker in the sense that, yes, we already know that his uncle died, but because it's not really, I don't want to say brought up, but because it's so, it's almost too ignored. It's like, rather than thinking that he's doing this for Uncle Ben, who we never even hear or even see his name, we only see his initials, but we never even see his name or mention. And and everywhere all around me are Iron Man faces. There's a problem with that, in my opinion. Like, we love Iron Man. Iron Man is cool.
Since we're already in spoiler territory, like, one thing I wanted to bring up was that the scene where Mysterio was like causing like Spider-Man to have flashbacks, right? Or like hallucinations.
Yes.
And one of them was of like a gravestone with like Tony's name on it. When I first saw that the gravestone appeared, my initial reaction, like before anything, was just, oh, is that going to say
Martha?
Uncle Ben? Different movie.
Like, that's something that I had like major issues with, is this universe's Spider-Man. Not so much Tom Holland's performance, but the way that he's written is he's basically taken so many elements from Miles Morales to make him fresh and unique in, the cinematic Spider-Mans, so to speak. But then the issue is he's less Peter Parker and more Miles Morales to me. And it's kind of like, you need to pick one. Don't wishy-washy, like, choose one and stick with it. For me, at least. Because if they do eventually bring in Miles Morales, people are gonna be like, oh, he's a carbon copy of Tom Holland's Peter Parker, when it's really like Tom Holland's Peter Parker is a carbon copy of Miles Morales, to a degree.
Right. I mean, like, maybe that's their intention, though, right? Like, maybe they'll just never introduce Miles Morales into this universe.
I'm joking.
Yeah, no, but like, yeah, they might not do that because of the fact that they're basically just making their Peter Parker like their version of Miles Morales.
I guess, yeah. I mean, realistically, though, my favorite version of Miles Morales is actually from the Into the Spider-Verse film, the animated film, because they fixed a lot of shit. But that's another story for another time, so to speak. So we talked about Spider-Man. Do you have any more thoughts on Spider-Man, or?
I mean, if I do,
what was that noise?
Right?
That was like Squidward's like laugh, but he's trying to hide it.
He's like quietly laughing at
Quietly laughing.
you. Yeah, like if we have thoughts about Spider-Man, we can always bring it up later. I guess the other characters can also like have some more time in the spotlight.
Yeah, like the fucking teachers, right?
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah. Okay, let's just briefly. Some of their humor works, but
it feels kind of forced.
yeah, they're fucking annoying.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's
It feels like they're like there to almost have like a human element, like to try and ground the film a little, but like it doesn't really work because it's almost like so forced in.
I would almost say that the only necessary comedic beats that they should have kept in there was the ones that progressed the story, like when Peter says, "So yeah, Nick Fury was really understanding, and we're not going to Prague." And then Mr. Harrison, I think his name was, walks by and is like, "All right, kids, we're going to Prague."
Going to Prague.
Yeah, that's a good comedic beat. That was a joke that worked really well because it's
also like situational comedy.
situational
right?
comedy,
Like,
dramatic irony, sort of.
yeah, like it really like it works in that situation, and it doesn't feel like it's a forced joke.
Yeah, like the joke about like his wife trying to blip. I felt like that would have worked better if it was introduced when they were talking about the blip, rather than like
because like it just felt like they just threw it into like the middle of a scene, and we were like, oh, okay, that's cool. I guess
that's
like,
kind of funny. It was funny. I'll give it that.
It was funny, but it was like
Unnecessary.
it didn't feel like it belonged in that scene.
Yeah. Well,
it's almost as if like the screenwriter wrote that joke, and everyone loved it because it was a funny joke, but they had no idea where to put it in.
So, what did you think about the supporting cast? So, Ned leads, MJ, because I forgot her new name is not Mary Jane anymore, but MJ. What the fuck was that Asian kid's name? Something Davis? Fuck it, we're just gonna call him Anthony Davis.
I thought it was Brad.
Brad, okay. I was about to be like, yeah, we're gonna call him Anthony Davis, the basketball
player. It's like
player.
one word off of Chad.
Oh yeah, Brad Davis. Fucking Flash Thompson, Happy Hogan. So yeah, let's talk about the supporting cast. Nick Furious, Maria Hilarious. So, no, let's talk about the kids. That sounds terrible out of context. We are the world. We are the children.
No. That's a totally different topic right there.
So let's start with the best friend, the straight man in Ned Leeds. What did you think about Ned Leeds, the fat Asian kid? Not me, the other one.
I feel like, I mean, I kind of like this character sometimes. Sometimes, sometimes, like you said, it feels a lot like the teachers, where like his jokes were like forced onto like the scene.
Mm-hmm.
But like, some of them do work.
Right. For me, the thing that I felt was somewhat unnecessary was was him and Betty, because it kind of didn't go anywhere in the sense. I mean, it did to sort of make Peter feel like shit because he couldn't get close to MJ. But the reason why I say it felt like it didn't really go anywhere was because they get together, comedy.
They break up at the end of the trip, right?
Yeah, they break up, but then even then it's almost like they never broke up in the first place. So there's no levity to it, aside from the time when they needed to progress the plot by having them go to
I feel like it's almost
the Ferris
like their
wheel.
Relationship was like artificial character development.
I don't think that
Where
develops
it's like
anything.
It's there to like make these characters seem more like dynamic, and it gives them like sort of an arc to go through in this film, when in reality nothing really changed.
I think they were there just to really progress the plot, so that Spider-Man needs to save somebody.
So plot devices.
Sort of, yeah. But then it's like, yeah, I guess, yeah. But it's just like, I don't feel like they needed to be together, because that scene easily could have been replaced with Betty and Flash, which seems like two completely opposite characters.
That's true, but then again, like throughout the entire film, Flash was too busy like live streaming.
Yeah,
Instagramming, live streaming. So he already had his own thing. Like his character had something to do, whereas I felt like Betty and what was it, Ned?
Ned Fleets, yeah.
Yeah,
Ned
like,
Flanders.
those characters didn't really have much. Like Ned, his character was basically just human support for
Funny
Peter.
Asian dude.
Like funny Asian dude, and also act as like a human, like in quotation marks, human character. So like,
So are you calling him a Skrull?
Oh, we'll get to that, right? And then I don't know. Betty's character, she's kind of like there's no reason for her to be there. So the fact that they gave her like a purpose with the whole romance thing, it is kind of her purpose.
I mean, the other thing too is Betty's character in the comics is completely different. And the thing is, I don't really know if I like having all of these characters aged down that significantly. But
why is that?
Because Betty Brant is not the same age as Peter Parker. Betty Brant is a woman that Peter aspires to get with. She works for the Bugle, and she's like at least 5 years older than him. And the dynamics
that's like the original Peter Parker, right?
Well, any Peter Parker really.
Like a lot of them.
Yeah. That's like the status quo for Betty Brant and Peter Parker. And to have her like as the same age as Peter, in the same school as Peter, bit weird. I got used to it immediately by just sort of pretending like this is a new character that has the same name. So it's okay. It's okay. Don't get triggered.
That's kind of like that's kind of like a lot of the characters though, right?
Sort of. The Spider-Man characters specifically are a lot different compared to other renditions in the MCU, I find.
Yeah, because like, okay,
same thing with Ned Leeds. Ned Leeds is like, he becomes the Hobgoblin at a point.
In the
comics.
In the comics, right?
Yeah.
Because like with the first film, right? Or like the first rebooted Spider-Man film. Like,
which one?
Vulture. Homecoming.
Homecoming.
The first rebooted one. Which one are you talking about? Amazing? Or are you talking about Homecoming?
Technically, the Raimi one is a reboot too, because the first one was the Electric Company.
Oh, really?
That's another story for another time. But yeah, so you were saying?
Yeah, like
in Homecoming, the Vulture.
Yeah, in Homecoming, isn't like the Vulture's character like massively different to how he normally is in the comics?
Yes. But I feel like that's for the better though. But
like that's the thing though, right? Like the MCU's version of Spider-Man seems to have changed all these elements so that their character is fundamentally different from like other renditions of Spider-Man, it seems.
But then there's some major flaws with that though. And since we're already talking about it, my major flaw with these villains in these Spider-Man movies is not so much the villains themselves, but it's more so the fact that all of their origins are tied to Tony Stark.
That's true.
And that kind of pisses me off to some degree. Vulture kind of gets a pass because it's not so much to Tony Stark directly. Like, yes, Tony Stark's company took over their jobs. They're taking our jobs. But the reason why it still works as a Spider-Man film is because, or Spider-Man villain for the Vulture is because like he stole the Chitauri tech, and then Spider-Man keeps on getting in the way of his arms deals basically. So
right.
that I could let slide, but there's no excuse.
I mean, you know how you made the Miles Morales Peter Parker comparison earlier, right? Like how this version of Peter is basically like Miles Morales and Tony Stark is essentially Peter Parker.
Sure.
Well, like isn't like, you know, the villains of Spider-Man spawned from like Peter Parker's actions and like a lot of the time? Well, like not his actions, but like they're more connected to him.
I know what you're saying, but that's still a Spider-Man villain. Do you see the issue?
Yeah, like the main issue still persists in the fact that the Spider-Man's villains are being spawned from Iron Man.
Yeah, like if because the way I see it is like this: if Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe never died, those are still Spider-Man's villains.
Right.
In this universe, if Iron Man never died, they would have been Iron Man's villains. You see where the issue is now, like origin-wise.
Yeah, like there is still that overarching issue of, or the fact that the villains are still associated with Iron Man.
Yeah. And I don't like that necessarily.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. Well, I mean, it also goes back to the whole, you know, they're how they established this version of Spider-Man, right? So, I guess it's not really a good thing that they did
that's
this.
why
but
it's fundamentally flawed.
it is how it is.
That's why I feel bad for Tom Holland's performances in all these films.
Because he's forced to basically
he's forced to
clean up he's forced to clean up Iron Man's
basically his character is always going to be another one's bitch, basically.
Yeah. Because he's forced to follow in someone else's shadow.
Yeah, and they have to water down Spider-Man. Only in this film he finally, at the end, gets full control of his Peter Tingle.
Yes.
And it's it's fine because I guess perhaps you do need some time to develop that, but it's you're watering down my Spider-Man. And I'm Spider-Man is actually fucking a beast in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, but to play devil's advocate, maybe this is so that they can have.
How dare you? I'm Christian. I'm joking.
Well, maybe this version of Spider-Man, the fact that he's still developing, is for characters to the audience to watch a character develop throughout the MCU, because a lot of the superheroes actually pretty much all the superheroes they introduce feel like they're almost already complete, they've become superheroes already.
Okay.
Spider-Man, because of the fact that he's still immature, his powers still aren't fully developed, it almost feels like he's a superhero in training, and us, the audience, are getting to watch his journey to become someone the superheroes he's looking up towards.
But then this is the problem with that. How are you going to show me? If you're going to present that at the screen, saying that he's a superhero in development, how are you going to turn that narrative around and then show him being a scientific genius who knows how to use these completely new holographic technology that has never been shown to the common public?
That's true.
You can't have it both ways, and that's why I say fundamentally, this Spider-Man is flawed.
Wasn't he an intern with Stark Industries in the first film?
No, that was his scapegoat. That was his not scapegoat, sorry. That was his excuse for, I mean, yes, he is his intern, but not at his company as a superhero.
Yeah.
But he would say that it
was just a front.
Yeah, as his front for him disappearing all the time.
Right.
So that's why I'm not a fan of this Spider-Man's or this universe's Spider-Man, because of these flaws that you cannot fix. Essentially, you cannot unfuck it, as I like to say. So you just have to leave it with the way it is and just deal with the fact that it's pretty fucked.
Build on top of it.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked. So it's like, but every installment it adds on to that. So in the next film, I do hope that whatever villain they choose, it needs to sort of be a Spider-Man villain. I kind of wish that maybe there isn't necessarily a mastermind villain, and have it just be the cops chasing Spider-Man all the time, and have J. Jonah Jameson villainize Spider-Man.
Oh, speaking of side characters in J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
So you know how he's basically running a talk show in this? The Daily Bugle is a talk show. Is that from any comic continuity, or was that based off the PS4 game?
Well,
because I know in the PS4 game he has a talk show where he talks shit about Spider-Man.
That's him retired in that continuity, I believe, in the PS4 continuity. I believe they just decided to do that to get with the times. Honestly, I don't think it was I think it is a coincidence between the film and the game. I
mean, because they probably did have access to what the game's story was going to be as well, right? So maybe. I'm saying it could be possible that they took inspiration from that as well.
Maybe. But shit, what was I about to say? But yeah, I feel like sometimes we take away from these films take away from the character of Spider-Man, and they focus too much on the Flash, and there's less character substance. Because in Homecoming, right, there were moments that were really nice, like when he was buried underneath the rubble. In Far From Home, the moments were mostly the hallucinations, and when he got basically fucked up, and then he was in where is it, Norway?
The Netherlands.
Netherlands, sorry. And then he contacts Happy Hogan, and he's like freaking
Actually,
out.
Was it Norway? Honestly, I don't
No,
remember.
it was Netherlands.
It was either the Netherlands or
because
Norway.
I remember someone said we're in the Netherlands, and also there was one of them. One of the prisoners was wearing Nike Netherlands. It triggered the memory.
There you go.
So it's like those are nice moments, but then the story itself is, look at how cool our superhero is, bro. He shoots webs, spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
Look out, he just called the drone strike on you.
Yeah, and like the only time where there's levity is at the end of this film, when in the well, people call it a mid credits, but technically it's after the opening credits, because this film doesn't actually have opening credits, if you noticed. But during that sequence, and he was revealed, right? It's like, oh shit, now there's levity. At least you fucking hope that there's levity to this, because in the first film's cliffhanger, it's like Aunt May finds out that Peter's Spider-Man. What the fuck? Right?
What now?
No, when at the end of Homecoming, when
Oh, right. I thought you were reacting to something on your computer.
no, my computer is dusty, but otherwise it's fine. When Aunt May was like, "What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with you?" Right? And then you thought there's gonna be some big consequences and shit, right? Nope, she's perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, she's just like, well, this is cool and all, but like,
I know.
try not to die.
Yeah, and then in this film, like, there is a huge well, we hope it's a huge consequence, and no one just blows it off as nothing.
Yeah.
What did you think about the inclusion of Shield?
The inclusion of what?
Shield.
Oh,
Nick
like
Fury,
Nick
Maria
Fury
Hill,
and, like,
Shield.
Yeah.
Dimitri.
I kind of felt like, I mean, they already had it in the trailers and all that, right? I kind of felt like it was a way for them to connect Spider-Man back to like the universe they already established, like the whole this is this is post Endgame. Everything's like like they're living in the fallout of everything that's happened. So I feel like the characters of like Shield essentially have to establish a bit of order in this world. But like, I'm not sure if they are actually good for the film or not.
I think they are necessary for the sake of moving the film. Because, how else are you going to introduce Mysterio in that fashion, right? So
yeah, like they don't have any other options really.
So I feel like they are necessary. I just feel like there could have been less comedic moments with Nick Fury and Maria Hill. Dimitri was fine. I was actually fine with Dimitri. Was it Dimitri?
I think so. I think his character was Dimitri.
Yeah, I was fine with Dimitri. Dimitri was fine because it was really quick, inconsequential moments.
I mean, his character was also like very subtle. Like the humor was very quick and dry.
Yeah.
So it was very enjoyable to see that. Also, a lot of his the humor involved with him was like visual gags. Because his character like literally says nothing throughout the whole film.
Sure. So I was fine with
like his character was like fun to watch. Is what I'm saying. Like it wasn't something that you felt like, oh, he was kind of forced in there. It was just like, oh, he's there.
Yeah, like I said, inconsequential comedy.
Yeah.
So I get that. So I get that like it's completely fundamental to have Shield in there just to progress the plot, but I feel like minutes of the comedy bits could have been shut off, like that whole or cut out, especially that whole bedroom thing, where it's like he shoots Ned with a tranq dart, motherfucker, like that's fine, but then it's like
and
Betty
comes. Like, so I hear you're Spider, and then someone knocks on the door again.
Yeah. Betty comes by, his teacher, Betty again, and it's like,
did the other teacher show up too, or no?
No, I don't think so. So it's like, that was unnecessary because apparently there's like a whole short bit of a movie that's completely cut out from this film that they're going to re-release on home release as like a short film.
Yeah, like the Blu-ray.
Yeah, and that actually I think would explain a lot, because if we have all these moments of comedy that could have been cut out with the teachers, even some of the students, with fucking the Shield agents. And I feel like we could have like replaced it with shit then that would probably build Peter Parker and his world, his neighborhood world, a little bit better. Like, how the fuck is he going on this trip in the first place? He's supposed to be broke.
That's true.
Apparently, it has been leaked that he's able to gain funds by selling his Star Wars collection, which is like, that's great. Except I don't know that. if I didn't read into it, I would not know.
Like, you wouldn't know that he was able to go on this trip. Like, how? Yeah. I mean, the assumption I guess you can make from that is that he's probably getting like funded by like an external source.
But then that would be a problem too. Why is Midtown High like some kind of gifted school? It's not.
Yeah.
But do you know what is the school that Miles Morales goes to? And then it's like, oh well, what if like Pepper Potts donated to like funded this trip for Peter? It's like, well, wouldn't that raise a lot of suspicions? That's the thing too. When they were like, so we're just going to pretend like Peter has parents in Norway and like that's okay with everyone.
Oh, Berlin.
Or Berlin, excuse me, yeah.
Yeah, the excuse they made was like, oh, he's staying with family members in Berlin, and then I was like, okay,
but his mom
cool.
and dad and uncle are dead.
Well, we don't know about the uncle. They literally just don't talk about him.
But, well, I mean,
for all you know, he doesn't even have an uncle.
The thing about Spider-Man is he's the thing about Spider-Man, he's not supposed to have family aside from his aunt.
Yeah,
because like it or not, the story
because Uncle Ben's dead.
Because the story of Spider-Man is that he is a man that will always be blessed with these gifts, but he will always be facing adversities, both in as a superhero, but then also just down on the dumps in sorrow.
He's got a gift, and he's also kind of been cursed.
Yeah, which is why great power is that he has all these strengths, and then the responsibility to use those strengths for the greater good. Hence, great power, great responsibility. So that is something that I feel could be explored more in these films, because
I mean, did they ever really? They never had an Uncle Ben to say that line though, right?
It doesn't matter. You don't need to say it because we know. But the problem is they don't fucking ever address that. He has all the great power, and like I said, to me, sometimes these films, they're almost like commercials, because it's like, look at how dope Spider-Man is. Look at these webs. Look, he could glide like a fucking squirrel. He could do all these things. Like, that's great. Show me more responsibility, because he never gets in trouble. He straight up ditches like detention in Homecoming, and he never gets in trouble. There's no
straight
consequences.
Ditches the trip in this film. Straight up ditches the trip. No consequences.
Yeah, he goes missing and no one freaks out about it. And they brush it off with having Mr. Harrison say, "Oh, great, Peter, you're here." It's like, hello, you have a missing child?
You're literally like across the world. Somebody goes missing. Well, I guess it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like, he'll find his way back to us eventually.
Yeah, there's next to no consequences besides death, apparently.
Which also doesn't seem to be much of a consequence, as like not much people seem to care.
Yeah. Well, not so much. Not many people seem to care, but he's not gonna die. It's a second fucking movie.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a problem with these movies in general, is that there's next to no stakes, and they play it too safe. So my biggest, I guess, like, in general, what I'm saying is my biggest problem with these movies is there's next to no stakes. My Spider-Man is a toy and not so much a character half the time. Well, he's still a character. He has a plot, a plan and everything. But it's less so much like, look at this fully fledged character, like, look at this advertisement. Peter Parker isn't fully developed to me in these movies. He's charismatic, he's fun. His side characters are also charismatic and fun, but then everyone is almost too perfect sometimes.
Are you almost trying to say he's like a Mary Sue?
Maybe, I don't know. The other thing too is that romance low-key came out of nowhere between Peter.
Which one?
All of them.
Oh, well, yeah, that is true.
Happy Hogan and Marissa Tomei, or excuse me, Aunt May, Betty Brant, Ned Leeds, MJ Peter. MJ Peter, you can maybe make an argument about,
because like he's been trying to go for that for like 2 movies now. Sort of,
I guess.
So that's understandable.
Yeah. Also, I realized something about this film, which made me feel empty after I thought about it. Stanley isn't in this one.
That is true.
And I don't know why.
I mean,
That shit made me like feel empty as fuck.
I mean, you did say that his favorite superhero was Spider-Man, so
Well, everyone knows that. It's
Yeah.
common knowledge.
it is quite
Nah,
sad.
bro,
that
his
he's
favorite
not- like,
superhero
he
was. Like I couldn't think of a joke fast enough. Syndrome. That's a villain from Incredibles.
That's a villain.
From Incredibles. But yeah, let's talk about sort of other issues with the film itself. Like the story.
I mean, do you want to address Mysterio first?
Oh shit, yeah, sure.
He's quite a big part of the film, you know.
Right. Well, truth be told, I don't have a lot of problems with Mysterio. Aside from the fact that he's a Tony Stark villain. I like what they did by adapting his character rather than being like a Hollywood illusionist and whatever to an actual like science developer and shit. That was cool.
Yeah, because like from what I knew from Mysterio, like from like reading back then, was just that he's like a guy who uses illusions and he wears a fishbowl on his head.
Yeah, and I also
he's like one of the most like I wouldn't call him interesting. He's more like
are you looking
wacky.
for bland?
He's bland, but also kind of wacky. Like wacky in the sense that they designed this guy and didn't know what to do with him.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like, oh yeah, does he have any like special powers? He can create illusions. Oh, cool. Anything else?
Well, the thing is, he wants to be the world's greatest superhero. That's why almost every time you see him introduced, he's framing Spider-Man as a villain. In this one, he also does that. At the end.
Like even like in the comics?
Yeah, in the comics, in TV shows. I think in the comics he was one of the earliest villains in the Amazing Spider-Man comic book run. In like the easily like first 20 issues for certain. Anyways, but yeah, I really liked what they did with his character. I like the fact that they kept it ambiguous in the sense that you really don't know if Quentin Beck is his real name, because he said, I like to one of his culprits, I guess. What's the word looking for? And I don't want to say coworker, but associates. Yeah, he said to one of his associates, and you, let's just call him Mark, and you, Mark, writing the story about a warrior from another universe named Quentin. Beautiful. So we don't even know if that's his real name, and I'm actually okay with that, because if you think about it, a master of illusion and sort of disillusion, you would imagine that he would try to like fuck you up with like fake identities and shit.
Right.
So I
which he kind of did. Like his identity isn't even real.
Yeah, like what if his name is not even Quentin? What if like my name Jeff? So
oh shit! What if his name actually is Mysterio?
My name Jeff. Nah, but I like that. I also like the fact that Mysterio is not just one person. It's sort of like a team.
Yeah.
But led by one guy very clearly. I was okay with that. And something that Kevin and I kind of low key, I don't want to say debated, but like talked about right after we saw the film, is we don't even know if he's dead for certain or not.
That's true, because like we see him get shot.
The tingles.
Like he basically shoots himself, more or less.
Actually, it was a drone. No, really, it was a drone.
Yeah, I know. But like, I mean, he did order the drones to shoot, and like, you know, it's like, oh yeah, you're in the blast zone.
Me no
yeah,
care.
that's cool. We don't care.
I don't care.
Come on, kill me. Do it.
Come on, kill me. I'm here. Do it now.
He gets shot.
Spider-Man, you son of a bitch. I never got to meet my parents.
Why did you have to shoot me like this? But yeah, like what I said was like, okay, you know, he said that like was it Edith? Edith said that there was no more illusions in play, and we can clearly see like him, like Mysterio, literally just lying there with his eyes open, and that's usually a sign of a dead guy.
Unless he is a good actor, which could also be the case.
Unless he's a good actor, yeah, which could be also like the case, because we've seen him put on quite a show throughout the entire movie. So,
and also, now granted, this is like really theoretical. What if he is an illusionist though? And I don't mean that in terms of the projectors. Like, what if he actually is capable of fucking with someone so hard that like he appears to be dead? That's a bit more far out, man, but like
you hear the fucking X-Files theme start playing.
Anyways, but yeah, like that's a little bit more far out, but it is perfectly possible.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, when did he have the time to record the footage of him exposing Spider-Man? Now, one could argue like, oh, maybe like he pre-recorded that, but then it's like that's a lot of fucking contingencies.
No, it's like how could he pre-record that if he had to record Peter saying like, oh, like initiate, or like what was it, like the like shutting down all the drones?
Yeah.
Like he had to have that too.
Execute them all. Well, not really, because it was actually cut in between with like the fuck is it called? The static and shit.
Yeah, but like he had to have, you know, a drone recording that too, right?
Recording what?
Well, like he had to have something record Peter say those lines.
No, you see when that happens. He was laying down on the ground as Peter was like commanding Edith, and that if you look at the angles, it matches up. Like that would have been what the shot would have looked like. So that I could buy. It's more so the pre-recorded message. Because like for him to expect Peter to say execute them all, that is some Dark Knight Joker shit. And even Dark Knight Joker
that is true,
makes no fucking sense sometimes.
Oh, like his pre-recorded message and saying that, oh, he was behind the drone attacks.
Yeah, it's like, how the fuck do you know that, you lying sack of shit? Speaking of which, there's also a fundamental flaw, which is when Nick Fury yells at Spider-Man, it's like, are you in this or are you not? And then he swings to the top of the tower and he's just sitting there lonely, right?
Yeah.
Mysterio flies up in the air and then he sits next to him. So,
right.
Two problems. How the fuck did you know that he was going to be there?
And how did you manage to like pull that off?
And if so, were those illusions? Like you might say, oh, well, that was just, his projectors. How the fuck did you know he was going to be there? You didn't.
And how the fuck are you gonna be able to talk to him like a proper conversation?
Yeah, because you unmasked and shit, and you sat right next to him, so that had to be physical. So are you saying you can fly? Can you fly, or can you not?
Well, actually, remember he is using drone technology, right?
Okay.
It is entirely possible that he flew in a drone, which is a stupid idea considering the fact that those drones are like they don't look very balanced, but it is an explanation, not a good one, but
okay, fine. I guess you could say that's an explanation.
Like it is a way of him getting up there. It's obviously not the best one because like he literally was like flying up there.
Yeah, and also Peter, like I understand that your Peter tingle isn't working yet, but bruh, you're in a bar in Prague, and everyone sees you unmasked, you spider monkey or night monkey. Like, don't you think that's a bit suspicious?
Like just a little.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, that scene seemed kind of odd to me. It almost seems like
you stupid motherfucker.
Like it was almost like a fever dream sort of odd because it was like, why is this? Like, why is this so weird? Like he like literally is talking to this man like in public, and all these people just don't care.
Yeah. You might argue like, oh well, they don't speak English, maybe.
See, like another thing I was gonna bring up, like in regards to the previous scene you were talking about. It's possible that he like walked up there, or like he just like took the stairs up to the roof, and they were using like the illusions, just like kind of hid himself and then just sat down beside him.
Okay.
And then like since he's synced up to his the illusion, he can just like remove the helmet with the by removing the illusion of the helmet, and then just talk to him. Oh, that could be a possibility.
Speaking of Mysterio, this fool copied my catchphrase. Peter, you want these glasses? If you want these glasses, come and get it. This is Kirby Kwan Jr. Let's go.
This is a dead body.
Well, okay. Well, that just got weird. Real fast. So,
well, he came and get it.
Your tenses were not synced. You said came and get it. That's kind of gross.
He came and
got
in it?
Just got. Anyways, literacy
we
aside,
done did it.
literacy aside, what was your favorite part in this film?
I'm not sure actually.
For me, I've seen it twice now. Without a shadow of a doubt, is when it's the final fight. It was just because there are two things that I loved about it. Number one was you could see him like exerting maximum effort into this fight, and then to show for that, you even see him like run out of webs in his web shooters, which is something that doesn't happen often in these films.
Oh, like the entire sequence from outside all the way to the inside the bridge.
Yeah. Like after he gets deployed from the jet. And then, dude, you would have been a good line if he gets off the jet, and you don't even need to animate this. You could just have him like voice over this, like get Tom Holland to like voice over this. He could have just said when he jumped off the plane, "Wakanda forever."
I mean, he didn't really interact much with the T'Challa, did he?
With the T'Challa? No, he did not. He did not. But like, bruh, this is such a cultural phenomenon now. You would, the one guy you would expect to make pop culture references outside of Deadpool will be Spider-Man.
That's true. I mean, did he hear the Wakanda Forever though?
Okay, let's assume he didn't, right? Because I remember very vividly that in fucking Endgame, right, when they opened the portal and like the whole entire Wakandan army was there. It was either in everyone was chanting Ibombe. So I'm expecting that they would have said Wakanda forever at once, or like after the fight or some shit as a victory
only
cry.
T'Challa said Wakanda forever.
Yeah, just you would have heard one motherfucking Wakandan.
He was the king though, right? So it's probably only the king would announce Wakanda forever.
Now everyone says it, even in Black Panther. You weren't paying attention, but like
no, I mean like for the final.
The point
fight.
I'm making is like you would expect after they win, like you would hear one person said, "Yes, we did it, Wakanda forever." So I'm expecting he would have said it at least once, or excuse me, he would have heard someone say it.
I think that would be the case if people were too busy focusing on the fact that Tony Stark just died during that fight.
But he is not one of us, so it is okay. No,
Wakanda forever. He is not Wakanda. Therefore, he is not forever.
That child can go. No, legit though, I'm not a big fan of Iron Man, which is why I said he's not one of us.
Yeah, but like that's the thing though, right? So it's like he probably never actually heard it. So
that's just like an Easter egg. I would have liked him to say. But yeah, like from the moment he,
if anything, what he would have said would have been like an Iron Man quote or something.
Yeah, but what? Okay, give me an Iron Man quote. Exactly.
I'm Iron Man.
Exactly. He's not gonna say like you see what I mean. Exactly. It's at least with Batman, right? You could have a quote. I am vengeance. Yeah. I am the night. You know, tell me, do you bleed? You will. That's not the best quote, especially if you're saying that to a woman. That's kind of offensive, in fact. But you know, just saying. But like, yeah, like my favorite scene was from
alive, dead. What do you want from me?
Was from the moment he jumped off the plane. It's terrible. but from the moment he ejected from the plane, and then he dropped down to the fight, to when he caught the fucking when he caught Mysterio trying to pull a fast one on him, and it was like, motherfucker, no, not today. What was your favorite moment in the film?
I mean, I don't really have much of a favorite moment. I guess like that whole end sequence was pretty cool.
Okay.
Oh yeah, right. You know how I like before this podcast, I was telling you how I like remember something interesting that you were bringing up.
Sure.
So let's talk about that, like the last end credit scene.
The Skrulls.
How like Nick Fury and Maria Hill were like Skrulls the whole time.
Well, sure.
Or like at the very least Skrulls during the movie.
Sure. Yes. Yes.
So you know how I haven't watched Captain Marvel.
Yes, Kevin has not seen Captain Marvel.
So like when Kirby was telling me about like before we got to like the end credit scene, he was saying, "Oh, you know, you might not get this because of something you told me before," which is why I told him I haven't seen Captain Marvel.
You're probably in the majority, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, no, I don't think a lot of people saw Captain Marvel, and
honestly, I don't think it was that popular of a film.
It was not. So
yeah, but like the point I wanted to bring up was that like they kind of already hinted at them not being the actual Nick Fury and Maria Hill during like the beginning, like near the beginning of the movie, or like earlier on.
Where? No, really, where?
Remember when they brought like Spider-Man into like the secret hideout, and they were like, talking about how like, oh, we need your help, and he was like, oh, why couldn't you get anyone else to do this? Like Thor, oh, he's off world. Who was the second person he suggested?
Hulk.
Well, like he suggested like 3 people, right?
Thor,
One of them I know
Hulk,
was Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, because when he got to Captain Marvel, it was either Nick Fury or Maria Hill that said, "Don't ever like mention that name."
Okay.
Like that seems kind of like a weird reaction for someone like one of them. Like they could have just said, "Oh, she's busy" or something, but that seemed almost like an overreaction.
I don't think that's what they said. I think they just said something a lot more subtle than what you remember.
No, I swear they said something like, that was like, you know, don't mention her name.
I don't think they said don't mention her name. I think they said like don't even bother.
I don't know, because like that's what I remember like, one of them saying.
Either
right?
way, let's say that like, let's say they were trying to play, what's his name, Nick Fury, or he was trying, or they were just being themselves as Talos. It's like they're all allies though.
That's true, but well, like I said, I haven't seen the film, right? Like,
so how would you know it's true?
I am the one, the way your son don't need a gun to get respect up on the street.
No, I was like, is there a reason why Talos would dislike Captain Marvel?
No. That's why I don't know where you're going with this.
I don't know, because that seems very like almost out of character for like Nick Fury. For like him normally being like kind of calm about this, he seemed kind of like pissed off that he would say that. Because, like, you know, the other scene, though, that was much more telling was where he was like, bitch, please, you've been to space. And that was, like, you know, very out of character, because normally Nick Fury would be like, motherfucker, please, you've been to space.
No. Samuel L. Jackson would. Not Nick Fury.
That's true.
You're getting your real life continuity with this, with MCU confused.
It's okay, because Samuel L. Jackson just channels whatever he plays, right? He just channels himself. If he's playing a character, he's got to say motherfucker.
No, he didn't do that in Jurassic Park now, did he? He just got eaten by a dinosaur.
Oh, well, maybe he said it inside the dinosaur.
You're just forcing this now. Okay, what was your...
Motherfucker!
What was your least favorite part? Or sorry, what do you think is going to happen next with the MCU and Spider-Man? First things first, what do you think the next one's going to be titled? We had Homecoming, we have Far From Home. What do you think the next one is going to be? Grounded.
Grounded?
No, I know.
Home at Last? Homecoming. He's coming home. Far From Home. Now he's not home. Is he going to come home yet?
Come home, Peter, come home. Oh, wait, wrong
Home
reference.
at Last. But, I don't know what I mean. Like they've named 2 of the films like with home in the title. Maybe they might make it a third,
Home and Homecoming.
Or they might make it something completely different. I don't know.
Homeless. Spider-Man Homeless.
Spider-Man Homeless. That just seems like such a weird title.
Anyways, yeah. What do you think is next for the MCU and Tom Holland's Peter Parker?
I mean, you know, with that whole mid-credits scene, his identity has been revealed, right? So, I mean, what like, what kind of options does he have now, right?
He could run away to to Wakanda, to Wakanda and take refuge there.
Right, but then also the people who like are involved with him, like his friends and family, are kind of gonna be like affected by this because now
okay, you take them there to Wakanda, problem solved. Wakanda, they're in Wakanda forever.
Take everyone.
Yeah, they'll be in Wakanda.
Take everyone
forever.
to Wakanda. We're in Wakanda now. Wakanda forever.
Yeah. No, I'm joking. Well, I'm asking you. Don't flip the shit on me. What do you think is gonna happen?
I mean, one option I could see is that he might go the Tony
Wakanda?
Stark route. No, that's not the Tony
But
Stark
he's
route.
poor. He can't do that. Well, he shouldn't.
No, like the Tony Stark route isn't like he just publicly Like, he just goes public.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He'll be harassed at a shitty ass apartment all the time.
That's true.
He literally does not have the luxury to do that.
And also, he's still like a high schooler. Is that what he's a high schooler, right?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like he
Midtown
still
High.
has to go to. He's still like a student. He's not even like a fully fledged adult.
I mean, he could
yet,
just
so-
go to school in Wakanda. I'm telling you, Spider-Man needs to be in Wakanda. That's what I'm gonna name this podcast, Spidey in Wakanda.
Spider-Man: A New Home. It's just Wakanda.
Yeah. Wakanda forever. Okay, I think what's probably going to happen is that he will be arrested, he will go to trial, and then in some way, shape, or form, he needs to convince everyone that he's not actually Spider-Man and that is bullshit. I fucking hope, though, he doesn't just say there's a perfectly logical explanation for this. This is some fake footage, and this is just a prank on me from someone that doesn't like me. How the fuck am I going to be Spider-Man jumping up and down and shit? I'm not athletic or anything like that. And then they bring in... And then Happy Hogan could bring in like the Iron Spider costume alone, and that'll do everything for him. And then I hope they don't fucking do that though. Like I hope they don't brush it off as a fucking joke. I would be pissed.
Yeah, but that would be kind of disappointing.
Yeah, like honestly, I'd rather have him go to Wakanda than have that happen.
He just has a new home now, dude.
Yeah, and then
It's in Wakanda.
yeah,
No, because I'm like, I feel like they can't actually do that because of the fact that people already know about Mysterio, right? Because he revealed himself already, or like, partially.
hold on. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like in Far From Home, hasn't what do you call it? Mysterio already like talked about this.
Talks about what?
No, like,
finish your point. What are you what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say like hasn't
Yeah, what are you actually saying?
okay. What I'm saying is, hasn't like Mysterio like talked about like his identity, like
on a
he's,
podcast,
you know,
like even announced it,
yeah, like he's announced himself.
like
to
come
the
out
world.
to the world as Mysterio,
Well, but like he's basically
revealed himself as Mysterio. Is that what you're trying to say?
yes,
Jesus.
he's revealed himself as Mysterio,
Yes.
like as like this successor to Iron Man, basically.
No, not no.
Well, not like in that sense, but like I'm saying, like he's basically showed himself off as this supposed superhero.
Yes.
So, people would be skeptical to believe Peter as well because of the fact that this person was supposedly seen saving the world already. Because they don't, they never revealed that Mysterio was a fake, right? So people, the world still believes that Mysterio, defeated these elementals.
I think the issue with that, though, is... I think at this point, and I might be wrong, at this point, most people know that S.H.I.E.L.D. exists. They might not...
Yeah, right.
But to them, they'll see them...
revealed that,
but
right?
they'll see them as, a good guy Illuminati, in the sense that they know that they exist, but they have never seen them before, because that's how efficient they are at their work.
Right.
They know that the Avengers exist, and... Oh, wait, no, but... the question is, how well do they know Spider-Man, though? We never actually get...
because he's always been this friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah, we
right?
we never got confirmation as to how global, so to speak, or how big his scale is. Yes, he keeps on saying, I'm a neighborhood Spider-Man and shit, but in the words of Nick Fury, or Talos in this case, bitch, please, you've been to outer space.
Yeah, but he's never been, a public hero.
That's the thing. We don't really know that. Because you don't want to know why I'm saying that? We don't really know that because so much of the film has been cut from this film. Even in the trailers alone, right? We know that the cops know that he exists. Remember when the cops so what, kid, you're going to be the new Iron Man? No, I'm too busy doing your job.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So it's and then someone's like, oh, you're that spider guy, right? Oh no, sorry, I'm thinking about the other Spider-Man movies, but yeah, so we don't really know where their loyalties lie, and also that isn't it very convenient that they cut off Peter Parker's face from that body, in the recording. So there's many ways that you could lean with it.
Oh, like they don't actually know who Peter Parker is.
No. What? No, they don't know who Spider-Man is because there's no evidence that...
No, but yeah, because like he said it's Peter Parker, but they don't know because there could be any number of people named Peter Parker.
Bruh, he showed his face in the screen.
In which screen? Oh, in that screen.
Yeah, in
well, you said his head was cut off though.
No, I'm talking about... Yeah, his head is cut off in the Spider-Man footage, as in when he was on the bridge.
Yeah, and then he showed him like a mugshot of his face.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is there's no definitive proof that that is Peter Parker. And also, why Peter Parker? That would be the best defense that they can make. Why are you targeting me of all people? And my face wasn't in that footage?
Yeah, because there's no proof that the person standing there was him.
Yeah, and clearly it's been edited. Well, I shouldn't say clearly. Like, you could argue that it's been salvaged, but then it's like, who gave you this thing? Is it traceable? Like, are you telling me that Mysterio just has a cell phone with him? And he's like vlogging his adventures? So there's a lot of...
Hey guys, today we're going to destroy London.
Yeah, hi Mark, today we're going to destroy... No, but yeah, like that's the issue. The other thing too is... Any superhero could lie and just come out and say, yeah, I've worked with Spider-Man. He's not a white kid. They could even make a joke about like Spider-Man is actually black and Hispanic, which is Miles Morales.
Right.
So there's many outs to this. We just need to figure out story-wise which one would make the most sense.
Or which out they're going to take.
Which is the same thing. That's what I said, basically.
Well, no, they might not take the one that makes the most sense. They might take like you said, they might do like a stupid one.
If they do that, bro, I'll be fucking pissed. They better not fucking do that, because if that's the case, then they fucked up Spider-Man's whole thing about responsibility. So he does need to dodge this bullet, but it needs to make sense.
Like there needs to be a way for him to dodge this bullet.
Because it's similar to Mysterio, right? Like, he needs to dodge the bullet. He needs to be introduced in this world in the way that makes sense. To integrate his story with Civil War in Tony Stark's therapeutic session thing, that makes sense. It's believable. Like
right.
Shit like that. It needs to make sense like that. I think an easy way out is to have to have MJ, Ned, and Brett and Betty say is like, no, like I was with Peter the whole time. Oh, what about in Prague? That was Night Monkey, number 1, and number 2, Peter and MJ were there, and Ned and Brett, well, maybe not Betty, but like Peter, like MJ could vouch for Peter, of course, lying.
Yes.
And then it's like, well, why does he sound so much like Peter? It's like, I don't know. Maybe this is a practical joke. Like I asked, where
I was like, well, people could sound similar.
Who is your source? Who gave you this?
Yeah.
And if they trace it,
I mean, also with the whole Night Monkey thing, right? Like he doesn't have. Like, where's the proof that he's a Night Monkey? He doesn't have any because the person who has the hood is now in the Netherlands.
True.
It's like, for all you know, Night Monkey could be one of the dudes in the holding cell.
Yeah, and like there are certain things that they could do. Like as soon as you say, "Who is your source?" Anonymous. Well, isn't that convenient?
Yeah.
That's basically like some next level swatting. Some next level swatting. I don't know. I hope he doesn't, because Civil War already happened, because he's already got the Iron Spider suit and they showed a more comic accurate version of the Iron Spider suit in this film. Like I maybe they might go the approach of like, oh, he's gonna come out to the earth, to the world like, yes, my name is Peter Parker. I've been Spider-Man since I was 15 years old or whatever. If they do that, it's like you fucking rushed it. You pulled the BVS. Yeah. You brought you prematurely brought Doomsday. It'll be like that.
Yeah, you brought the Doomsday, you brought the Wonder Woman, you brought the Superman
back. so yeah, that's my thoughts on.
You brought the Martha.
that's my thoughts on Spider-Man: Homecoming. Okay, let's quickly wrap this up. So, what are your overall thoughts on Spider-Man? I said Homecoming earlier, but I meant Far From Home.
Honestly, I still like the film. Like, it's a very fun film to watch. So, it's, not bad.
Okay, what is your favorite aspects of the film, and what is the worst aspects of the films for you?
like I said, I like to enjoy like I enjoyed watching like the character of like Spider-Man grow, because that seems to be what they're trying to establish here.
Okay.
And at the very least, they're doing it in an enjoyable to watch sort of sense.
Okay.
Like, we see his progression as a hero, and also like kind of like there's someone for him to look up. I mean, it's not done in the best possible way because of the fact that it's like, oh lol, he's dead. Now you got to look up to someone else or something.
But he's dead.
Which is kind of what they did in this film.
He's buried in the grave. He's beneath you.
Because it's like, Tony Stark's dead. Hey, here's this other guy who looks kind of like Tony Stark. Oh, hey, you should be the new Tony Stark. Oh, how convenient. I also want to be the new Tony Stark.
Yeah, he just kind of hands it away without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
He's like, dig it and go.
Like, that was I feel like that might be, like, my least liked part of the film. How, like,
dig it and go.
He was, like, there was this whole, like, talk about responsibility and how Tony entrusted these glasses to him. And he's just like, yeah, now they're yours.
Responsibility? Me not have that. So what?
I'm just Spider-Man. All right, see ya.
So how would you rate the film, either out of 5 or 10?
I'd say like 7.5.
Bruh, I made it easier for you by giving you the 10 scale, and you still had to give me a decimal.
Is that bad? 7.5?
Yeah, it sounds like shit. B plus.
Fine.
It's not even a B plus. It's just a B.
I'll scale it down to a 7. Is that better?
Oh, B minus. You're not going home tonight, bitch. Far away from home. Nah. Okay. So for me, the things I like about it the most were the performances and the action scenes. Even though it was a little bit too much CG for my liking, there was a degree of quickness to it that felt weighted to some degree. Even though I made a joke about how this version of Spider-Man is mostly Flash, I still did enjoy that Flash. Don't get me wrong. It's not talking about Flash Thompson. I'm talking about Spider-Man in this film.
Did you enjoy that Flash too?
He's just really. There hasn't been a cinematic Flash that I like more than him, so I guess he gets the pass. This version of MJ I actually do like. Her character is very realistic somehow. Of course, it is
she seems less of like a person for Spider-Man to like get horny over, and more of a person who could also almost be like his partner.
Right. I like her character. Ned I didn't like as much in this film compared to the others. Well, I mean, granted, he's only showed up like what two times.
Is it because of the whole relationship thing?
No, because he didn't do anything. Like straight up, he just didn't do anything. I feel like there's a lot of inclusion of characters that wasn't there, and as a result, because of scenes cut, it feels like there are certain scenes that were cut that was probably more vital than the story than some of the humor. So I'm talking about stuff that I don't like. I never fucking liked the fact that this was less of a Spider-Man movie and it should be retitled "This Kid Far Away from Tony." That's just something that I'm gonna have
like
to.
How it's basically remnants of Iron Man.
Yeah, that's just some shit I'm gonna have to live with. So I really dislike that, but I do like the villains. The villains in these films have been terrific. The only issue is that they're kind of Iron Man's villains. Yeah, but individual characters wise, these villains, I'm loving them like a lot. So for me, I actually, despite the fact that I've been ranting a lot, this just goes to show you how passionate I am about these characters and their comic book origins. But as a film independently, if I remove myself away from these facts that I've known about all this time, I could still give the film a solid 8 out of 10 or 4 stars. So that's a B plus, A minus, B plus, B plus. So yeah, I still thoroughly enjoyed the film. The first half, or the first act itself, was a little bit too much of a high school comedy for me, but I still, like I said, I still thoroughly enjoyed it. And also, of course, J.K. Simmons is in this, so yeah. Yeah,
he is now the J. Jonah Jameson.
I got the hairline in the back. But yeah. Okay, so I think that
here's the thing.
That's
though.
it. Oh,
here's the thing, though.
Why?
Why? I was gonna be like, one big question. Did you like this film more than Endgame?
Fuck no, dude. Are you dumb? I like Endgame significantly more. Anyways, my name is Kirby Kwan Jr. You can follow me on SoundCloud, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook by typing in Kirby Kwan Jr. That is KIRBYKWANJR. To follow Kevin, you can find him on YouTube under the name Redial by typing in youtube.com/Shining Freedom. And you can also find him on Instagram at k.luong.redial. Once again, that is k.luong.redial. My name is Kirby Kwan Jr. and Kevin has joined us for today's podcast, the Ghetto Fabulous Podcast. And until next time, that's it for us. Deuces.